It's me, ToxicFree. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Again and again and again and again. Yeah. Right, so, okay, can I just start by saying thank you to everybody who's supporting me, everybody who's joining me with the channel. We'll see how it goes, shall we? So I really appreciate that, and thanks. And also, before I start, I just want to say that I'm not a life coach. I'm just a channel who likes to support people, a good ear, and a supportive word. So, on that note, I want to talk about boundaries. Boundaries are spoken about a lot, and they're the things that sometimes people get confused by. There's a lot of videos on boundaries. I've done another one on boundaries a while ago, but I like to put my spin on it. So, first of all, I'm going to read something to you about boundaries and what they are. Personal boundaries. They are the physical, emotional, and mental guidelines that we should create to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others. Boundaries filter out the people who are good or bad for us, and then it's up to you to enforce and implement these guides. Boundaries are there to keep us safe and keep you on your path and not on anybody else's. So, see, what I find is when you don't go by your own rules, you end up following someone else's path. And I've done a video on this before. I'm going to pop it here. If somebody else is directing you and you're asking questions continuously, and if you're trying to impress, trying to be the best person for someone else, that you're not being the best person for yourself, and what happens is that you are then directed down their route. If you're going to follow them in their lives and you're not going to have your own life, you're going to be following them down their path. That's their path. That's not your path. Your path's in here, but sometimes we don't want to say what we want out of life because we're scared of hurting people. So what's the reason that we don't enforce our boundaries? Okay, I've taken notes because I want to make sure I get this right. First is our lack of self-worth. If we don't feel we're worthy of anybody respecting us, if we don't feel that we're worthy and that anyone's going to listen to us, sometimes it's that. You don't think you're very important. So if we don't think that we're very important people, why should we tell people yes or no? Why should we sort of like say to people, I don't think that's a good idea, or I don't want you to do that to me, or I don't like that? Because if we're not that important, who's going to care? That's one of the reasons why I know that sometimes in the past that I've not put up my boundaries. It's understanding and knowing our faults. Codependent people please others. We don't like upsetting people. See, what a lot of people think it's mean. People think that setting boundaries is mean. And we don't like to hurt people. We are people pleasers. There's certain things in life that you have to do to gain. We could go around being people pleasers continuously, but there's a balance. I'm going to read what I researched about boundaries here. What are they and how do them? I'm going to read something that I took off the internet. Personal boundaries are the physical, emotional, and mental guidelines that we should create to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others. Boundaries filter out the people who are bad or good for us, and then it's up to us to enforce them and implement. Boundaries help to keep us safe and keep us on our path. Now, when we say keep us on our path, when we listen to too many other people and when we don't have our own kind of sense of self in a way where we're scared to be ourselves because we think that somebody's going to say something to us, and we're too busy kind of being dependent on other people, we end up going down their path. Now, I've done a video of this before, put it up there. We end up following them because if we keep asking people, if we keep wanting to be with the wrong type of people, we're going to end up down a path that is not our path. See, the way I look at it with myself, firstly, we think that we're not worth it. We think that we don't want to stick up for ourselves. We don't want to say what we think because we think that we're being bad. We think by putting up boundaries as being mean. It's not mean. It's the default setting of most people who aren't dependent or who haven't been abused in the past, the point where we've been trained that we're worthless, we've been trained that we're no value. These people don't have to implement boundaries because they're set within them. They're within them like the default setting. So they get the respect they deserve already because they've been brought up like that. To suddenly change your default setting from one person to another is really difficult. When we've been dependent or we've been very, a people pleaser most of our lives, to suddenly change is very different. It's very difficult and very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable feeling to have to suddenly start saying something that we don't really want to say, but for our own sanity, we have to. See, I've also found as well, when I had boyfriends, for instance, that quite good-looking guys, I used to feel that I wasn't worthy of that good-looking guy. I used to feel that, I was batting above my, or boxing above my weight, or fighting above my weight. What is that saying? God, I should have Googled that before I started. And I always used to feel that if I do anything wrong, they'll just dump me. Because I should be happy to have someone like that. I always looked at them with value, and I never felt valuable. So I would never want to put my boundaries up with someone like that, because I would think, wow, I'm lucky to have this person. No. Both of you should be happy to have each other. And that's why we let so many toxic people into our lives, because we look at them like we are lucky to have them in our lives. And if we say something wrong, or if we say no and don't do what they ask us to do, and don't go out and don't pick them up from the pub, or don't get their tea on time, or we're just too passive, and if we don't do the things that they want us to do, they're going to dump us. But you know what? That just shows who they really are. And that's what boundaries are. They're a filter. When you say something to somebody, it's their reaction that you need to look out for. It's a way of seeing what their reaction is. If their reaction is a negative one, if their reaction is rude, and they're really kind of aggressive and shouty at you because you've not done something, or you're saying no to them, that's who they are. But we're only going to find out who these people are that we're with by actually having boundaries. And then if they actually react in a negative way to our boundaries, that's when we can make a choice if we want them in our lives or not. But until we know who these people really are, and they're not just using us, why? Because we're easy. And I don't mean easy in a sexual way. I just mean easy to push around, easy to ask a favour for, and we'll do it. Easy to tell us to do something, and we'll say, and we'll jump and say how high. We're easy. There's a saying, now I used to hate this saying, and I still do, but if you try and reframe it, treat them mean and keep them keen. See, that's kind of what it is. Treat them mean. We don't have to see it as treat them mean, but if you reevaluate the saying, it's a boundary. People with boundaries are more intriguing and more respected. Sometimes I can't put my finger on why, but that's how it is. Sometimes we'll never understand things really deep down. But if you have boundaries, and if you say no at certain times, you are respected more, and you are looked at as less easy. If you're a gift, and we're all gifts, some are valuable, some are looked at as more valuable than others. See, if you're a gift that's there for everyone to see, with no wrapping on, which is your boundary, people are going to just look at you, prod you, push you around, think, oh, okay. If you have a gift wrap on your gift, people are more intrigued to want to know what's in there. People are more respectful that you're actually covering up. People find you have strength and inner strength. Inner strength is an attractive thing in a person. And when you have that, people find you more attractive. And what you need to do is make yourself more valuable than them. Because they want to look at you, and they should be looking at you and thinking, wow, this person's valuable. She's wrapping herself up. She's looking out for herself. This person's worth having in my life. And as soon as you start having the worth for yourself, as soon as you start gift wrapping yourself, protecting yourself, people will want to be with you more. People will see you as valuable because you know you're valuable yourself. So the treat them mean and keep them keen thing, in a way, if you twist it round, is true. It used to be about the bad boys and the girls wanting the bad boys. But let's water it down. It's about having boundaries and being more attractive, being strong, having empowerment. With your boundaries, you'll suddenly gain empowerment. And another thing about having boundaries is you will be less disappointed in people. You will be less inclined to get angry at everybody. You will not get so stressed and so anxious about how people are treating you. See, it affects us. Having no boundaries affects us, makes us angry, makes us hate people. Why is he treating me like that? Why isn't he respecting me? Why doesn't he pick up the phone? He's not picking up the phone because he knows you'll always be there. When he knows that you might walk away, when he or she knows that you will get up and go because your boundaries say, anyone that treats me like muck, I'm out. And if they know this, they will value you. They don't value people that don't value themselves. And as soon as they know that you've got the strength and the empowerment to get up and walk away whenever they treat you bad, they will start treating you better. It's also, if we've been in abusive relationships, we've had our intuition, our guts, that feeling of not knowing right from wrong and not trusting ourselves. We've had that kicked out of us. So that's another thing why we don't have boundaries, because we don't really understand them or know where to stop them and know what to be. It's about learning and understanding ourselves and believing our gut. See, when we say no to people, again, what scares us is the reaction. We are scared of our emotions. We are scared of being hurt again. We're scared of being anxious. We're scared of waiting for the no, go away, get lost. We're scared of the person coming back. We don't know the reaction of people. So what we do is we please them because we don't want to feel worried or emotional or upset. We avoid those emotions as much as we can. So what do? We don't have boundaries. Because with boundaries, you've got to feel uncomfortable. With boundaries, you're waiting for the reply. You're nervous. But once you start implementing them, it gives you that strength. And again, catch-22. As soon as you start gaining that strength and that self-worth, your boundaries will come naturally. Forcing a boundary on somebody who doesn't have or feel strong enough is really hard. But once you've built up your value and your worth, it will come more naturally and it won't feel so uncomfortable. It's like driving a brand new car. You know, you feel lost in it. You think, oh, I can't cope. All the buttons and all the switches, and it's an automatic and I'm used to a manual, and oh my God, I don't like it. You're uncomfortable in your surroundings, but after a while, it'll come naturally to you. And then you'll feel better in yourself because you won't be getting anxious. See, when you say yes to everybody, that's loving everybody else. It's giving them your love. You know, it's like honey. If you go out there giving everybody your honey, you're going to attract the bees, which are nice. They're good for the planet. Little fluffy bees. Here we go. And who's going to start? But you also attract the wasps that to me have no use. They don't do anything. They just go around buzzing, stinging and getting in your face. But you see, if you stop putting so much love out there, just half it, you'll half the amount of toxic people that come buzzing around you because you're open. And you'll start attracting the right people. You'll stop attracting the narcissists. See, narcissists will stay away from people with boundaries. Narcissists will stay away because they know that they can't manipulate you, because you're not easy, because you're not the open gift for everybody to play with. They see and feel your boundary. So as soon as you start putting yourself first and saying no, you'll gain the rewards. You'll start having a more positive future. You'll start not hating as much. You'll find that the hating of people declines. You'll find that people are nice to you. You'll find all sorts of differences when you start putting your boundaries up. The anxiety of being treated like shit is horrible. Put your boundaries up. you won't be treated as shit, and you will not feel so used and abused and worthless. We're an enemy to ourselves. I hope that makes sense. We have to feel uncomfortable. We have to step out of our comfort zones to implement boundaries and tell people that we don't want this. And it's not all about saying no. It's just having respect for yourself. Knowing that you're worth it. Knowing that if someone treats you bad, you will walk away. And if they know that and they actually like you, they will treat you with respect. But if they don't realise that they can lose you at any minute, that's when they treat you bad, because you'll come back like a bouncing ball. They need to be scared of losing you. That's what a boundary is. It's having somebody else scared of losing you because you're worth it. You're valuable to their life. We act as if they're valuable to our life, but we should be valuable to theirs. And when we don't ring up, or we don't turn up, or we don't text them in the morning, they're the ones that should be worried, thinking what's going on. Not thinking, oh, it's okay, I'm not bothered about her, she'll come round sooner or later, she'll text me when she wants to. We need them to feel that they're going to lose something valuable if they don't treat us with respect. And that's what boundaries are. It's making other people see that we are valuable. Guys, I hope I've not gone on too long. Stay safe, take care, bye.